And so with holographic healing, this is something that I have touched on in previous episodes, where when we're doing healing, we may feel that we are connecting to a source pertaining to an individual. So sometimes we may be able to visualize them in regards to our minds. We may be able to visualize a quality of them. We may be able to visualize an organ, etc. All of these are representations of how we are calling in, bringing focus and awareness into a signature energetically that we could refer to as a hologram. But there are many different advanced ways of how we are able to perform this type of holographic healing. So this is very, very helpful, especially if we are doing a lot of distance healing. And so if we are, for example, in California and a client of ours is in New York City, then we want to be able to perform a type of distance healing for them. So how do we do that? Well, there are several different ways. Utilizing something as simple as a photo. So with a little headshot of your client right here. Being able to have a type of image is again an imprint of a hologram. And so we are being able to focus our energy with the intention as a facilitator of healing to be able to send that energy as we look upon this photograph, as we look at the person here. And let's say, for example, they may have a headache. And so basically we're bringing our focus, bringing our awareness to run the energy. And of course, being able to close our eyes and just keeping our focus on the awareness of the hologram that we have created by looking at the reference material regarding this photo. Now, this photo is just one particular example of utilizing a hologram. It can be a lot more advanced than that. Many people may be familiar, and sorry for the kind of crudeness of this drawing, of a healing doll. And that this particular doll may represent some type of familiarity with voodoo or voodoo in that way. And that's basically where it represents itself. Now this doll or this figurine or this dummy, even in that way, can be a holographic representation of an individual as well too. So basically, if we were to use a healing doll in that type of example, if we were able to talk to Joe here, and Joe was able to provide us with a popular item that he may be wearing on his person. For example, if he has a ring, and he is able to send us this ring, and we're able to attach this ring upon this doll. And what we are basically doing is, where we have this ring attached, we are now connecting Jim's own holographic energy to this particular doll. So I should say Joe or Jim, whatever. I think I got the names mixed up. But we're able to now pick up his energy that he puts upon this doll. And so now we are able to envision this doll that is now imbued with Joe or Jim's hologram. And so, for example, if Joe here has a sore shoulder on the left-hand side, we can now utilize that ring as an anchoring conduit to his hologram. And we are able to perform healing upon this doll because this doll is now serving as a holographic medium to Joe. So this could be a life-size doll or a life-size mannequin, a life-size dummy, or it could just be something very, very small. The point here is that we are imbuing a hologram interface. So if we are, again, serving our client who's on the East Coast, we're on the West Coast, and we're able to apply this type of healing. So now we would be able to utilize this doll, again, as the medium, and focus upon the left shoulder, and again, being able to heal that. Now, basically how that translates subconsciously is because this ring that Joe has worn, that is attached to the doll, is again now imbued with that hologram of his energy. And so now we have created the intention of seeing this doll as Joe. And so now we are being able to place energy upon that doll in that way. Are there many different ways to apply energy? Absolutely. It's not just even through color or light frequencies. It can be through other forms of intention. as we again need to understand the key to healing, but what makes healing what it is the basis of intention and focus. As we give intention, as we bring focus and awareness to this mannequin, to this doll, and we see this as Joe, and we are now applying that healing upon Joe's left shoulder. What we are doing now is we're doing some type of neuro-linguistic subliminal effect that we can now create. We could also refer to this as a trigger. So we can actually create a healing trigger utilizing this doll. Now again, some may want to use color vibration or light vibration. That, of course, is acceptable. But being able to bring a healing trigger to this doll. So how could we do that? What is it that we could possibly do that creates this healing trigger? Well, we need to look into our minds and discovering exactly what is an appropriate trigger that we can use to provide healing to alleviate the pain that Joe is feeling in his left shoulder. So we may want to take that doll and we may just want to gently tap it with our fingers like this. And as we're tapping it, we're just giving that aspect of love, healing, restoration, rejuvenation, regeneration. We're feeling that energy as we're tapping the left shoulder of the doll. And we just keep doing that for minutes, perhaps even for an hour, however long you feel it is appropriate to continue to do that. So this is basically developing a healing trigger to work together with the holographic healing for Joe, utilizing the medium of the doll created through intention and focus, applied through distance. Right? Good summary right there. That is holographic healing. Is that, again, it's really great when we see a person here in the room with us and we're able to do a healing on them because they are present, and we can certainly work with that. And again, it doesn't require so much creative visualization. But again, working again with the conduit of creative visualization and utilizing holographic healing, this is really all we need. And that you are just continuing to practice, you are continuing to develop the ability to work with another person's hologram. So how did this ring play a part? Well, as we gave in the example, Joe wore this ring. Maybe it's a wedding ring. Maybe it's another type of ring that he's had since he was a kid. But it has been imbued with his own hologram. His life force is imbued with that particular form of essence. And so we are using that life force essence through the ring to, again, function this medium of the doll. Now this can work in many different ways. You don't have to have a three-dimensional doll or a mannequin in that way. You can simply use a piece of paper. And I have done this as well too in past healing sessions as well. Is that you have a figure of a person here. Maybe drawn a little bit better than this, but that's okay. Just a little stick man. And you can even have like a front view, a side view, a back view, etc., whatever you feel is appropriate. And you're just utilizing this piece of paper. And what you can do is you can get the individual to scan their own signature, just their own signature that they write down. So they have their signature here. We basically take that signature and we pop it right into the photo or into the document here. And then we are able to utilize that particular signature and imbue this body, again, front view, back view, side view, etc., utilizing the signature of the client. And so now we're actually able to take effect with everything that is being done through the healing of this medium that represents the document. We're able to do the exact same thing as we did with the idea of the mannequin or the doll. The exact same thing applies because, again, we have a holographic signature. So a holographic signature can be used to help send and facilitate any particular type of healing that the individual requires. So again, that is another way. This is what is so brilliant about distance healing, is that all we really need is a sample of a hologram pertaining to the person that we wish to work with. And it can be very, very amazing that this person that you're working with, again, they may be miles and miles and miles away, but energy all exists here and now. Vibration, frequency exists all here and now. So it does not matter of their location. It does not matter of the when. All of that energy is going to be applied to that person through the permissions that we give. And again, that's a very important thing, is making sure that we are being mindful in utilizing permissions to heal. It's very, very important that we do that, because holographic healing has many great benefits. We can utilize the idea of holographic healing particularly for the aspect of distance. But again, as great as this can be, it can also lead to something that can be harmful as well too. And as facilitators, we want to ensure that we are asking permissions before we do any kind of work on another person. And I have talked to other people in the past, and some people, again, are very, very conscientious of having permission sets pertaining to their healing. And this is what I extremely recommend. I've had people in that sense, oh no, I don't ask for permission, I just go ahead and do it. I'm like, well, you got to be careful, right? You got to be very, very careful with the idea of utilizing or foregoing the aspect of permissions. Because again, if that person is not willing to receive that energy, then you are at the aspect, or at the mercy rather, of rebound, right? And that's not what you want. If this person is not giving you any kind of permission to work on them, but you are attempting to go and try to mess around with their energy field and manipulating in certain ways, and again, it takes a certain kind of person to do that. I don't think I need to worry about that through most people on my channel, I think. But it does require a certain person to do that, to really be that kind of inconsiderate and disrespectful for a person's energy. But it can be done. This is exactly how people have done successfully voodoo curses. It is actually quite easy to curse a person. It's not hard at all. I actually have the knowledge to do it, but no, I've never done it. I don't ever want to do that. But I certainly do have the knowledge of how curses are done, how hexes are done. And the frightening thing is that they are very easy to do, right? They are very, very easy. And but again, the repercussions of that, playing and dabbling within the idea of black magic, is not something you want to get involved with. But I don't want to go too deeply into the idea of hexes and curses, but they do exist, and they are quite nasty. I've had people that have come to me who have actually wanted hex removal or curse removal as well too. And I've been able to do that and facilitate that through the means of light circuitry. But it's a very, very nasty game that gets played if we are not willing to utilize holographic healing through the aspect of permission. So again, how does a hex or how does a curse work, just without me going into too much detail about it? Well, the whole idea is that if you're looking into an aspect of a curse, it's basically exactly what it sounds like when you curse a person. It all revolves around emotion. It is basically how we would, in that sense, utilize permission and send so much love and so much blessings to a person and so much appreciation and helping to heal their shoulder, for example, if that was an area that they needed to have healed. Well, the curse would do the opposite effect. It works very strongly with negativity. Okay, and it can also utilize the aspect of holographic healing, just to have a photo of a person or an item of a person. Very similar to what we understand as psychometry. Is actually we're able to pick up an item and being able to get impressions off that item that was used by a person, accessing the Akashic records pertaining to an individual that has used that item. But they're basically utilizing great aspects of negativity, again, against a hologram of a person that they personally despise. And so it's not a pretty thing. It's really not. And it can attach to somebody in regards to that curse. Well, how does it get attached? Well, in order for a curse to work, there needs to be this. Okay? There needs to be karma. So basically, if there is a person that is vulnerable in a certain way, who may feel that they may be insecure with love or relationships, can't land a job, have problems with money, etc., that person knows that person very, very well and knows what their faults are. Basically, what they will do is they will expose that person's vulnerability by placing a curse on them. And now they are basically, because they have such karmic vulnerability to that, this particular curse lands right upon them, implants itself within their own energy field. And so now they will continuously get hexed, continuously get cursed based upon this thought form, because that is all a curse is. It is a thought form. It is a subliminal trigger. So again, very similar to how we have computers. Little bad keyboard right here. Basically how we have computers, and we get backdoor Trojans. We get malware, etc. like that. All of this is coming through the back door of the computer. And now the computer is vulnerable because there is no protection in regards to those ports, those communication ports, whatever it may be, that caused the hex in that way, the malware, the virus, to get into the computer for it to get affected. There was no protection there. There was no fulfillment pertaining to the protection that the computer had to prevent it from getting that virus, that Trojan, right? The same thing applies pertaining to our own energy body. Emotions are basically what create the aspect of karma, and karma itself is what gives the open vulnerability for curses and hexes to come through. So that is primarily how it works. Now again, it can be removed. The aspect of the thought form pertaining to the curse or the hex can be removed. So again, I can often do that with light circuitry. I can also do that with blessings. We can do that with love as well too. We can do that with working with the person as well too, to help bring fulfillment to the areas of karma that they have been lacking in. But again, all it is a thought form implant that is working together with the subconscious, a subliminal loop that is basically feeding off vibrationally where this person is continuing to stumble. And that's how a curse and a hex works. And it can be alleviated. So it all just depends upon if the person is willing to work with that and having the curse and hex removed. A lot of it in that sense is also utilizing certain things like color and light vibrational healing, as well as blessings. That can also work as well too. So it all just depends in regards to what is being placed upon a person. But yeah, holographic healing does have its dark side, and that is primarily where the curse and hex motif comes into play. And of course, is it possible that a person who is committing this curse or this hex would get a rebound based upon it? Yes, if that person truly is fulfilled and has basically harmonized with the karma that once produced certain forms of conflict with him or her, then that energy that represents a fulfillment would return back into the caster. And so the caster themselves would actually be rebounded, and they would actually have something of this energy applied to themselves. And it can be a very, very nasty game. I never encourage anything like this pertaining to curses and pertaining to hexes. It's very, very nasty. It's not something anybody should really mess with. And I know I can't speak to anybody about that. I'm not their god or their deity. But it's very important that, we really have conscientious awareness about what a curse and what a hex does. And it is basically implanting itself into a person and being able to feed back that particular karmic cycle that they have in very intense ways. So when you're basically placing a curse on a person, it's basically threefold intensity, and it becomes very, very intense. It could be anything from a person nearly getting hit by a car or having, life-threatening illnesses. It's really, really nasty about what some people can do. And so I would never, ever condone anybody, no matter how bad they are, to plant a curse or a hex on them. It's just not the way to go. It's not the way you want to evolve yourself, and you're not. You're going to stay stagnant in regards to that state of bitterness and vengeance. So I would never, ever recommend anybody getting into this stuff. It's just not something to play with. It's not something that's fun. You're helping to ruin a person's life. And that is, in that sense, own karma. Your own karma coming back to you as well. Even if you may feel that you have delivered it safely. There's some karmic attributions to those as well. So my recommendation is stay away from that stuff. That stuff is not good. It is not going to evolve you. It is not going to advance you. It is not going to help you in any particular way. And again, that is the dark side as it pertains to holographic healing. But yes, even though there are some people who I've met who have had these things attached to them, they can be detached. They can be removed. They can be dissolved. But it does take some personal work. But again, looking onto the light side of holographic healing is working together with healing triggers, working together with light frequency, working together with color frequency. and being able to help bring restoration and healing, because that's what's truly going to advance you. That's what's going to help advance others. And where there is cooperation, where there is humility, where there is love, that is what's going to continue to advance a person. So again, if we're focusing more on this healing trigger, all it represents is an action imbued with intention. So again, just going back here, putting the intention into action and just utilizing that as a type of medium. So again, like having the doll and just patting it with your hands here, you may just want to hold the doll and basically just holding your hand like this and just starting to do a small counterclockwise circular motion. That can represent a healing trigger as well too. It can also be words. It can just be the idea, love, 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 or heal, heal, heal. Again, those all represent aspects of intention placed through action. The expression of the word, again, comes to the idea of a healing trigger. So again, there are many different ways for us to facilitate healing. There are many different types. There are many different types of methods. It's all about what you feel communicates the strongest with you, what you feel is the most appropriate. So again, this is just giving us an example that no matter where a person is in the world, we have the capability to facilitate healing with them. People who are watching this, who may be Reiki healers or quantum touch, whatever it may be, are already aware of this. And we're basically just taking it to different levels pertaining to the usage of holograms. And being able to imagine that we're just, for example, looking at a bed, and we see the person that we're working on, that we have holographically inserted into this scene, and we're able to work on them as well too. That's a holographic representation also. Being able to envision their body being laid upon this massage table or bed, whatever it may be. And being able just to close our eyes, utilizing creative visualization, and working on healing on the hologram. That is a lot of what I did when I was first starting as a healer, was just being able to envision people. I'd get a photograph of them, I'd get a little bit of detail about what they look like, and then I'd be able to create this canvas holographically of them within my mind, just sitting in a chair. And then I would be able to work with them, utilizing certain forms of color and light frequencies to helping them in areas that they felt were causing some problems. Also being able to work on emotional issues. And again, that's the good thing about any type of healing, is that we're not just working on the physical body, we're working with the physical, the mental, and the emotional bodies as well too. So holographic healing is a very, very powerful method if that is something that you want to pursue. And you are also aware of some of the repercussing dark side pertaining to the idea of holographic healing as well too. But no matter how dark that is, everything has a capability to be resolved, to be dissolved, and to be liberated back into harmony. And I always encourage that everything utilizing holographic healing, working with healing, is something that serves yourself, something that serves others. That is what I feel is the ideal aspect in utilizing technique, tools, methods, and our own intention in this particular way. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of The Healer's Guide. I'm Brad Johnson, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video. Please feel free to visit realitywhisperer.com, sessions, courses, the Reality Whisperer library, more exciting videos, and a lot more. Thank you so much. Take care. Namaste, and may it be well with you. Goodbye.